akukho. Rock and roll.
タクシーエピソード9ノイズイズブルー
僕らみんなに来て僕らみんなに来て僕らみんなに来て僕らみんなに来て僕らみんなに来て僕らみんなに来ている僕らみんなに来ている僕らみんなに来ている僕らみんなに来ている
Ancient life was all silence. In the 19th century, with the invention of machines, noise was born. Today, noise is triumphant and reigns sovereign over the sensibility of man. Through many centuries, life unfolded silently, or at least quietly. The lightest of noises that interrupted this silence was neither intense, nor prolonged, nor varied. After all, if we overlooked the exceptional movements of the Earth's crust, hurricanes, storms, avalanches, and waterfalls, nature is silent. In this scarcity of noises, the first sounds that men were able to draw from a pierced reed or a taut string were stupefying, something new and wonderful. Among primitive peoples, sound was attributed to the gods. It was considered sacred and reserved for priests, who used it to enrich their rites with mystery. Thus was born the idea of sound as something in itself, as different from and independent of life. And from it resulted music, a fantastic world superimposed on the real one, an inviolable and sacred world. My neighbor is complaining about the noise, says that I'm too noisy. That's the music I think he doesn't like. I tell him he's the one who's noisy. I don't like his machines. I don't like all this stuff that he does all the time, mowing the lawn, cutting wood, cutting whatever, steel, cutting dildos, cutting I don't know what. So today, in this episode, we'll talk about noise. We'll also talk a little bit about something called hi-fi, which is an interesting concept. So here is noise, noise, noise. So noise. Apparently noise is unwanted sound, considered unpleasant, loud, or disruptive to hearing. So from a physics standpoint, noise is basically indistinguishable from sound, as both are vibrations through a medium, like air or water. So the difference arises when the brain receives and perceives a sound. Acoustic noise is any sound in the acoustic domain, either deliberate, like music or speech, or unintended. In contrast, noise in electronics may not be audible to the human ear and may require instruments for detection. So, say you're a robot. Basically, a lot of stuff that humans don't even hear could be noise. So that's maybe one thing we don't think enough. I mean, I don't own, I don't know if you own robots, but I don't own any robots at the moment. So, but I'm pretty sure my neighbor, when he's complaining, I mean, I'm pretty sure he makes more noises that would bother my robots if I had any. Like, I'm pretty sure I would have two, because it's like chickens. You don't have just the one, you have two or three. Or two robots, maybe three robots, you know, so like if one, no, two is better, because then three, I mean, two would pick on one, and so, but two, it's good, so if one's broken, the other one's, could help and fix it, and still work, still do the stuff, because those would be hard-working robots. I mean, there's no, no freeloaders here, no Freddy freeloaders in this domicile. So yeah, probably, I think Robot 1 would be named something, I don't know, patriotic, like Mike. And Robot 2 would probably be sort of an anti-that, so I don't know, something like Nostrof. That's un-American, isn't it? So yeah, but definitely Mike, I think, would be sensible, but Nasrov would be a bit over the top. Anyway, so yeah, Mike complains all the time. I mean, he would complain all the time about the neighbor's noise, that's, let's say, undetectable to the human ear type of noise, all the stuff that neighbor does. I mean, if you saw the guy, if you saw my neighbor, you would know him. He's a noisy guy, but on the sly, he's not. Me, I'm straightforward about the noise. He's different. He's like, I'm mowing the lawn. It's not noise. It's hard work. I'm a patriot, and so on. Well, let's see what Mike says, and don't get me started on Nasrov. So yeah, that's a point of view. Basically, noise is a point of view. Environmental noise is the accumulation of all noise present in a specified environment. So noise is something you can accumulate, like money, garbage, or mucus. And there's this notion that environment is quite noisy in general. So what I was reading at first, the Russolo Art of Noise manifesto is said that there was no noise before, but that's not true. I mean, even in the ancient Romans, they had helicopters. So, what about those, huh? The principal sources of environmental noise are surface motor vehicles, aircraft, trains, and industrial sources. So industries, that's where the problem is, the industrial noise. But I quite like that type. Not all of it, not the 90s type. The 70s, late 70s, early 80s industrial noise type of thing. That's more my cup of juice. So let's listen to some industrial noise to have a kind of frame of reference here. It says here that millions of people are exposed to noise pollution that creates not only annoyance but also significant health consequences such as elevated incidence of hearing loss and cardiovascular disease. Urban noise is generally not of an intensity that causes hearing loss, but it interrupts sleep, disturbs communication, and interferes with other human activities. And that, I would say, is not entirely true, because, people put babies to sleep with white noise. So, how about that? Maybe something to, just think about. There are a variety of mitigation strategies and controls available to reduce sound levels, including source intensity reduction. For example, you have a jackhammer and you turn it to the low noise setting, instead of the really loud setting. Land use planning strategies. I guess it's, for example, you don't do you don't start like let's say a factory, a noise factory. You don't like build one in the middle of a residential area. Like you'd get in it and it's nothing, and it's a factory. It's a giant building, and they produce nothing but sparks and explosions and noises like that, So yeah, maybe it's time to strategize our land use. Also, people use noise barriers. That's interesting. I imagine, you got, like, when there's a fire, and the firefighters, they make another fire to fight fire with fire. Then you can fight noise with noise. That's that's smart. And also sound baffles, which is a pretty good name for, I don't know, some sort of delicious snack. Hey, can you hand me that bag of sound baffles? And you eat them and then go, noisy. So yeah, that's about environmental noise. I'm reading here about the health effects of noise. Exposure to noise is associated with several negative health outcomes. Depending on duration and levels of exposure, noise may cause or increase the likelihood of hearing loss, high blood pressure, sleep disturbances, injuries, hair loss, and even decreased school performance. There are also causal relationships between noise and alcoholism, psychiatric disorders, and effects on psychosocial well-being. So, yeah, noise can turn you into a psycho. It's also proven to be an occupational hazard. For example, if you work in a noise factory, like I was talking about earlier, well, then you could cash in on it, at least get some money, buy a set of new ears. Or earplugs, at least. Roland Barthes, the inventor of MIDI, distinguishes between physiological noise, which is merely heard, and psychological noise, which is actively listened to. Physiological noise is felt subconsciously as the vibrations of the noise, sound waves, physically interact with the body, while psychological noise is perceived as our conscious awareness shifts its attention to that noise. Yeah, I think that's true. It's if you I tell that neighbor, if you stopped if you stop paying attention to the music, you wouldn't hear it anymore because it's not that loud. And even if it was loud, I mean, I think he could learn probably to tune out of it. But for me, I see that's the thing, is his noise is I feel it in my bones. It's the walls are shaking, the windows are shaking too. Everything's as we're speaking, it's my coffee cup. I have a mug of coffee and it's moving on the table. It's shaking. It's like living on some sort of volcano. That's I'm actively perceiving the noise. So thanks. Loud music is that music that is played at a high volume, often to the point where it disturbs others, like the fucking neighbor, and or causes hearing damage. It may include music that is sung live. Well, can you imagine singing that loud? With or without microphones, yeah. Like some people, like extremely loud, you could get hearing loss from just being near them. Play with instruments. For example, you can think of a super loud piano. Or broadcast with electronic media such as radio, CDs, or MP3 players. There's no mention of vinyl, I think it's not loud enough. So playing loud music that can be heard from outside of the property from where it is being played, such as a house, an apartment, or a brothel, is considered to be rude by many people and societies. Among those opposed to the practice, it may result in the loss of respect. Okay. I don't know if I could go through that. Oh, I just lost my neighbor's respect. And possible legal action, well, that's more annoying. But in certain contained settings, such as clubs or concerts, music is often played very loudly, but is viewed as acceptable. That's it. I think my neighbor should, I should tell him that we're in a club. And I think he would give me a break. A study conducted by French scientists, and that's the first. I didn't know they were French scientists. Showed that loud music leads to more alcohol consumption in less time, so you drink more faster. For 3 Saturday evenings, researchers observed customers of 2 bars situated in a medium-sized city in the west of France. So the normal France. Participants included 40 males aged between 18 and 25, who were unaware that they were subjects of a research. The study featured only those who ordered a glass of draft beer. That's nothing. The lead researcher said that each year more than 70,000 people in France die from an increased level of alcohol consumption, which also leads to fatal car accidents, but it doesn't say anything about I don't see the... I mean, I agree with the study. I think the more you drink, the louder you get. But I don't think this is a very good research. But, well, like I said, French scientists, never heard of that before. I mean, I'm not sure they really exist.
catch you touching my fucking shit and there's no... I'll stick a fucking... I'll stick a fucking... You said you would be quiet, then do it. You want to stick me with that fork? You get back in there. Touch my shit. And nobody ever touched your shit. You lying son of a bitch. You know how sick you are. Tony is having to listen to this. I don't give a shit. Take your fucking question, pick him with his fucking ass. Popular favorite.
Singing that one right there. That's recorded,
To just conclude on the subject of loud music as a disturbance, I think one single word sounds like two, but it's a single word. Earmuffs, I think, are just, this is such a great word, and a could be useful device. Also looks nice, and it's warm. High fidelity, often shortened to hi-fi, is a term used by audiophiles and home audio enthusiasts to refer to high-quality reproduction of sound. There are so many problems with this definition that I'm just gonna play you a little jingle that will, I think, clarify the whole thing about hi-fi. There we go.
Hi-fi is a hi-fi is a hi-fi is a hi-fi is a hi-fi is a
Now, I think that when we discuss noise, what we're really talking about is silence. It says here that silence is the absence of ambient audible sounds, the emission of sounds of such low intensity that they do not draw attention to themselves, or the state of having ceased to produce sounds. This latter sense can be extended to apply to the cessation of or absence of any form of communication, whether through speech or other medium, which is that's a good definition. And silence, I think, is really important in noise. It's what makes noise happen. Also, people, it's a paradox. People talk about a deafening silence or that sort of stuff. People sometimes just stop talking. They're silent. They become completely silent. Or what do you say? You say silent anger, things like that. Usually people use brief silences to, when they talk, as a sign of, could be anything, disagreement, confusion, and so on. I think silence is golden, like they say. That's what they say, right? silence is really becoming a precious commodity. It's something that is increasingly hard to get, even at a temple, a Buddhist temple. You know, this guy's been moaning about I don't know how long, and people are tossing metal into metal and the likes. Another thing that's often mentioned is 433, the great experimental work by avant-garde composer Nicolas Cage. So check that one out if you don't know it. It's pretty interesting work. You basically the performers remain silent throughout the piece. So that's got to be a bit noisy, I think, in a way. It's been suggested that in social animals, including humans, silence can be a sign of danger. Many social animals produce seemingly haphazard sounds which are known as contact calls. So there you go, I think silence is danger, noise is danger. Again, we're surrounded by this dangerness. I don't think we'll make it out of here alive. So yeah, I don't know, hi-fi, lo-fi, all those things. Also confusing. Right. So hi-fi is a must. Some people prefer the cleanliness. Myself, I think I just like to mix it up a bit. It's a bit like you don't only eat salty food or only sweet food. You grow up, you try a bit of this and that. You put smoked salmon in your bourbon and the likes. Anyway, that's the end of the episode on noise. I hope you had a good time and learned many things. I'll see you on the next show.
Mid-taxis,